Coming up on this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society. Hey guys, we heard about this hot new thing called VR. It's dangerous to go alone, so the Nintendo Cartridge Society goes with you. Welcome to Nintendo Cartridge Society. My name is Patrick Ellis. I'm joined, as always, by my co-host, Mark Mitchell. Mark, how are you?
I'm doing great. I feel a little bit like we're recording from the future, like maybe the bedroom at the end of 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Is this just because the placemats are off of the table
Yeah,
where we
so
normally
there's
record?
like a sheen white surface.
Look, I don't mind saying we got our kitchen table from IKEA. It is the one that is just like it's like a sheet of glass on top of some metal legs. It's very futury.
It is.
And normally we've got placemats on it, but we had to take all that off so that we could put together some Labo.
That's right.
On the table here.
But we're not ready to talk about that just quite yet.
Oh, what do we have to talk about first, Mark?
The Sonic Forces borrowing program.
Look, would you like to borrow my copy of Sonic Forces? You can.
Yeah, you have to answer that question for yourself.
Yeah, that's
but
right.
But if the answer is yes, then you can do so.
If yes,
permission
then
granted.
That's permission from us. If you're like a child, then you need to like clear it with your parents.
Absolutely. Or if your spouse is staunchly against Sonic the Hedgehog, and really, who can blame them? You should probably get.
I'm on your spouse's side, frankly. Don't borrow my copy of Sonic Forces. But if you did want to, all you have to do is email us your address to Nintendo Cartridge Society
at gmail.com. You pay nothing. It's the perfect program.
It is a true borrow. You don't get to keep it.
Nope, but you don't have to pay to send it back.
Right. So everybody wins, except for me. I lose. Just over and over again. Here's another thing you can do with that email address. You can ask us questions.
That's right. On May 9th, we're going to be celebrating our 250-ish episode. And it's going to be a listener Q&A spectacular.
Right.
But it'll only be spectacular.
What do you mean?
If you send us your questions.
I didn't know that was another if-then statement. If you send us questions, then it will be spectacular.
Exactly.
And look, if we get bad questions, we will answer bad questions. And the quality of the episode will be it's squarely on you.
That's the give and take that,
that's right.
This show and its listener relationship have.
Yeah, I would say that we're like revolutionaries in that regard, right?
Absolutely. But it just makes our show stronger.
Absolutely. Or weaker. We'll find out.
Where will they send those questions?
Oh, to Nintendo Cartridge Society
at gmail.com. And do that by May 5th.
Oh, yes.
So we have them. We can record. You don't have to worry about did they see my question or not?
Right. We are seeing all the questions. Thank you to everyone who has already sent them. Thank you, Dustin, who sent a question since I mentioned people who sent questions on the Monday episode. Tuesday episode. We're getting in over our heads here, Mark. We got to talk about Labo VR. So let's get into it. Okay, so we're going to be doing this a little bit differently than every other thing we've ever done on this show.
That's right. So we have put the Labo VR headset together.
It exists in a physical form. We have made it so.
We are looking at it.
We folded some things. We snapped some little grommets together. Grommets?
I mean, it sounds good.
Sure.
I'm into it.
I'm sorry I questioned it.
Well, one of the things that's actually kind of remarkable about it that the other Labo kits, they all have something where you're like, wow, I can't believe that works. Like when you're putting it together.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh wait, how does that work? And
why am I wrapping rubber bands around this thing?
With the Labo VR, apparently the Switch is capable of stuff that I didn't realize was the case.
Yeah, so this is, we have played through some of the experiences in this VR thing already, and with the Switch just in the visor,
no Joy-Con attached.
It is sensing movement,
which I didn't know was possible.
No, which means there's a gyroscope in the Switch. somehow.
that I don't know has been used for anything else ever.
Yeah, I don't know either.
The other thing I don't know is some of the functionality of the VR headset is on the upper right hand corner. There's like a little target that
Yes.
it'll tell you to like double tap to reset things or select things in like the menu, and I don't know how it's reading the double tap.
Me neither, unless it is just reading that is like getting some sort of motion
Right,
to
or
it.
like some sort of pressure on the power button, because it would be right under where like the power button is,
I
right?
guess that is where the power button is. Yeah, I really don't know. Or if like it's somehow applying pressure on the like little felt pad stickers that are also like touching the touch screen.
Mm-hmm.
If that has something to do with it, maybe even that's how the like motion sensing is happening. I have no idea.
I don't either. It's really remarkable. Like in that way, it's like every other Labo set that we've put together so far, where you're like, this is incredibly clever.
Yes, and how it's working and the fact that it works at all is remarkable. But so there's not a lot to the like actual game experiences, and even calling them games is maybe a little misleading.
Yeah, like once you set up the visor and you put the switch in for the first time, and again, it's sensing that the switch is in there.
Yeah, it knows, and it knows like the second you put it in there.
I wonder if that is using like the proximity sensor, because doesn't it have one of those?
Does it? It doesn't have
Or
a camera.
does it have like
The
an auto
camera's-
brightness thing? You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
where
yeah.
the screen can, depending on how bright it is outside, so maybe it's using that. I don't know. All of this is a wonder to me.
Yeah, that's we don't know how it's doing what
But
it's
once
doing.
you build it and slide it in, there's like an introductory mini game
Mhm.
that it introduces you to this like robot that you can make run around, and he can shoot projectiles by pushing like A. He can make platforms appear under him by pushing Y. He can
throw little balls that will break up those platforms, and then he can also like throw boxes like up into the sky.
Yeah, like how Mario punches a box. When this guy jumps up and punches, like a box just appears and they'll like stack on top of each other. And so you run around in this space, and then once you tire of that, then you go to a menu that has, I don't know,
Once
like
I tire of that.
I mean, we all know I'm pretty much just an English dandy. 16 little mini games, I guess 15, not including the demo one.
So Mark is
that you can
confirming
choose
this
from.
by peering into the
That's right,
little
like
box.
opera glasses.
Right. I mean, from the outside, it looks as though you're picking up like a shoebox and looking into it and telling me something about a video game you're playing.
There's also like 4 pages of games,
Yes.
but I don't entirely understand how you either unlock them, or if it takes like the blaster, which we haven't built yet,
yes.
or some of like the other kit. Because when you first boot up the software,
Mhm.
you have to say like, did you buy the, what is this called, like the basic VR kit, or did you buy like the fancy one with all the animal stuff?
Right, and we said just the normal one for us. Not fancy are we? So yeah, I mean that's there are likely to be more like gamey experiences in the other ones, but today we're really just going to be talking about the 16 or so VR experiences.
Yeah, it's hard to describe what they are. They're not really games.
Right.
I guess it's more like we're just going to put you into a space and play with the physics for a little bit.
Yeah. Yes. So I'm gonna try to go into one of these now and describe what is happening to my eyes and my body.
Yeah.
So
one of the things that's really kind of awkward about the Labo VR headset is there's no like strap or anything. You're always holding it, or
always got to hold it. Yeah.
Or and so you're either holding it by itself if the Joy-Con are out, or for some of the games you put the Joy-Con in, and they will, like, you can hold on to those, which is nice.
Okay, so I am going to try this one called "Climb to the Finish Line," and it's got our robot buddy in it. So I'm highlighting it on the thing and just double tapping the top of the thing, and still kind of marveling at the fact that that works. All right, what is going on? Okay, so oh, this is one where I need the Joy-Con. All right, I'm gonna take this. All right. All right. So this is actually pretty close to having like a real game experience here.
Oh, okay.
Um,
This is one I don't think we played last time,
no,
right?
it is not. I can climb, try to climb all the way to the finish line. R is jump, and the stick moves the robot. Um, oh, geez, I landed on a. Here's the thing, the terrain in this, there's like it's a black and white or like white and gray kind of world, and then there's a big red bar that says danger on it. I touched that danger bar and I blew up. All right, so here I go. Robot jumps, great. See, now this is borderline like, 2D section of Mario Odyssey. I'm blowing up over and over again. All right, let's be a little bit more careful here.
So one of the questions we had before Labo came out, and one of the reasons we, I guess, like groaned a little bit when the rumored Nintendo entry into VR ended up being Labo, is that like the Nintendo Switch's resolution is not,
It's not great.
especially like this close to your eyes.
Well, right, because it's a 720p screen, which is, not as God, I just blew up again. I'm actually getting a little bit frustrated
Because you own a
This is great.
PlayStation VR, which
I sure do, yeah.
is I guess maybe not top of the line is the right word, but
No, I mean, because it's not. It's not as powerful as like an Oculus or anything.
but how is actually playing Nintendo Labo VR? Like, does the screen bother you, or are you just kind of like you just get over it?
You do just get over it. It's the one thing that's weird about it is that, like, not only are you inches away from the screen, you're inches away from a screen that you like regularly touch with your fingers. You know what I mean? So like, I think I can make out fingerprints and weird little smudges that have just grown on this thing over time, because it's a touch screen, which is all very strange. But yeah, I mean, you're not really in any given moment spending a bunch of time in this thing. And even like an individual gameplay experience, you're going to be pulling it away from your face over and over again. All right, as I just cleared one of these things. I don't know if you heard that music cue. Here, Mark, you take it and try jumping around in there for a little bit.
Yeah, to me, like looking at the screen, it kind of reminds me of just looking at like a 3DS XL.
Yeah, totally.
Where like, wow, this doesn't look awesome. Like you can see every pixel very clearly, but also who cares?
Yeah, well, and
I have to turn around and face the other way because
I think you can push the X button
okay, and I have to like recalibrate. Oh,
yeah.
No.
No,
It's still,
it doesn't.
the actual headset is calibrated the other way. Very awkward.
This is gonna work. All right, are you lined up and can you see it?
Yes.
Okay, great. Yeah, and I mean, I think it would be a bigger deal if this thing were actually like strapped to your head.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that you are like voluntarily every second putting it in your face makes the lower resolution not really feel so bad.
That's right, because you're also just kind of like, oh, I can stop doing this at any time.
Yeah, you can be freed. You're not trapped in this thing the way you are in any other kind of VR headset.
Okay, I see why you're frustrated with this. It really is like the Mario Odyssey 2D levels.
Yeah,
but the controls are frustrating.
Yeah, but I mean, even in something like this, your like position as the camera is pretty static, right? Like you're moving around like you're on a tripod, basically. So like your head movements are just sort of tracking where the camera is pointed, and you're not actually like flying around in the space. So it's there's no chance that you're gonna get like queasy or whatever doing this. There's no disconnect between your brain and what's actually happening to your body.
Yeah, and in that way I really feel like this is the most toy-like VR experience.
Oh yeah, hands down. It will never try to trick you.
And in that way it kind of feels like it makes sense that it's Nintendo's entry into VR.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, here's a bunch of like toy-like experiences where we're not going to try to give you this big like cinematic, you are there.
Right. Almost never. It feels more like peering into a world than being a part of it. Yeah. Should we try another one of these games? Do you want to try, or should I go back in?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. So let's look at shooting hoops. And for those wondering, that yes, that is shootin'. That's IN apostrophe.
That's that Nintendo Treehouse localization magic. Do you need the Joy-Con for this one?
I do need the Joy-Con for this one. Okay. All right. So we're gonna tap the thing to start, which again, super strange. I don't know how it knows. All right. Aim for the hoop and then shoot. So I'm going to try to grab with my little pointy guy here. There's a basketball and there's a basketball hoop. I'm on that same sort of like green, just freshly mowed lawn space where you get to run a robot around. And I'm going to try to throw this basketball into the basket. Ooh, no, badly missed.
No,
okay.
One of the ways they kind of get around the limited power or resolution of the Switch compared to some of the VR headsets, which are run on like a supercomputer, basically, is the graphics are very simple.
There's
basically
very
no
simple.
textures, and in that way, I'm no like frame rate expert, but it seems to run like I never felt queasy or felt on the verge of being sick.
It runs well enough. I cannot get a basketball into the basket. There's one. All right, let's do it again.
The physics feel very like I imagine like Octodad.
Oh sure.
Playing. Or like, do you remember that Jelly Mario?
Yes.
Hack that like.
Yeah, I believe it's still our pinned tweet.
We're great at Twitter.
That's at Nincart Society. Check out Jelly Mario. All right, this is stupid. This is a mostly bad experience, but at least it resembles a game. Yeah, really. Okay, now that I know where I need to aim the ball to actually like put it in the hoop, it's really just become like a point and click kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm gonna get out of that one. So like real simple sport-esque experience, but nothing like it's not like Wii Sports where and I guess maybe that's not even fair to say that like that there's any depth to what was fun about Wii Sports, but like bowling and tennis were like legitimately fun and like cast a spell of like you're doing this thing and like you're playing a game with it. This doesn't really feel like that.
Yeah, one of my goals coming into this episode and putting this together was like, oh, is this something that my 12-year-old nephew would enjoy?
Yeah, 12-year-olds are tough.
12-year-olds are tough
because they're getting really close to the like most cynical age in the world, 13, of course.
The cursed year.
The cursed. That's right. That's what that Harry Potter play is about, right? What do you think? What do you think?
I don't think he would. I don't, because I think that the games are too simple.
Yeah.
And he would be too cynical to enjoy it on like the level we were enjoying some of the sillier games.
Yeah, I mean that because at some point you and I are kind of just like game for what's happening,
mm-hmm.
right? That like if there is some novelty to what Labo VR is presenting, or we can laugh about like a little robot guy being somewhere, we will. But I think if someone is looking for really anything more than that, that this is not going to deliver on it.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, both of us feel a little bit bad because we want to do our due diligence.
Yeah.
And we bought the kit that has the VR headset and then also has like the blaster.
Yeah.
But we didn't build the blaster.
No.
Like
and part of that is just that we didn't set aside a whole lot of time to experience this thing. But kind of I think wall that we're hitting with Labo is that like we're hitting a wall with Labo. This is the third kit that we collectively have purchased and put together, and just kind of like getting to it again and like pulling out the sheets and going through the instructions, which are still, very good. They're still dynamic. I still think that IKEA should team up with Labo, because it's so clear you're not going to mess up putting these things together with these instructions. But like on the other side of that, it's very handholdy, and the first thing it makes you do is put together a Joy-Con holder, right? And we've done that twice already, and so I think we're both feeling a little like impatient with it.
And I think the other thing that's a knock against the Labo VR kit that is not true of the other ones is that like the variety kit, when you're putting together the piano and like the fishing rod and the house and that kind of stuff, and then the vehicle kit, like those are all experiences that you can't really get anywhere else, or not necessarily on that level, like constructing that piano.
Yeah.
The Labo VR, once you put it together, it's still just kind of an okay at best VR experience that you can experience at any mall. That if you have a like an Android cell phone, a lot of them will just pop into a headset.
Yeah.
Like a cardboard headset. Google famously made Google Cardboard, which is something that's like very similar. You just, I don't know, did you put it together yourself? Probably. Do you know what I mean? Where it's just like this feels, even though it is the most toy-like that I have experienced and the most Nintendo, it just feels lacking in a way that the other Labo kits didn't.
Yeah, no, I absolutely feel that. And like, there's obviously a lot more to Labo VR. There are a lot of things that we haven't put together.
Right, like there's an entire other kit that has
exactly.
like a bird experience where you have a wind pedal that it's seemingly its entire purpose is just to blow wind in your face to simulate like what it might be to take flight, and like the elephant thing.
What it might be like to experience a windy day. Yeah, but I mean it's even more than that though. The Zelda and Mario experiences aren't out for another couple weeks, and so like I wonder if, but man, like that's such a weird thing. One of the things that I grumble about with Labo is like once I put the things together, the Toy-Cons together, what do you do with them? I don't have a ton of space in my apartment, and I got boxes to put the cardboard pieces in, and like if I'm going to keep the like Labo VR headset around to experience those other things when they do come out, like I gotta have this thing handy somewhere. I don't know, the whole thing feels a little like that's not that's not gonna happen.
It also just doesn't really feel worth it. Like we've done all the work that we need to experience whatever like Breath of the Wild VR is like, for Super Mario Odyssey VR is like, and I'll probably check it out.
Yeah,
but I'm just not really excited about it.
Yeah, I mean I think the software applications for this are passing curiosity at best, and then the construction angle of it is the same as it's ever been, but maybe you and I have just kind of moved past the point where that's novel, or it's like kind of hitting the same triggers for us.
Yeah, I hate to say it, but this, like, in a way that the other Labo kits were obviously had children in mind, but I didn't feel like were aimed at children necessarily. Like, I feel like adults could derive pleasure from it. This really does feel like baby's first VR.
Yeah, and not really in like a like an inclusive sort of way, or like a like teaching you about VR, but in really just a like here's a bare bones experience. All right, so I would say mixed to low review from us, but like a weird, funny, fun time. Like
we were both laughing, really hard.
Look, there's one of these things where you're in a kitchen and you're just like, what's in the refrigerator? What's in the stove? And then you push a button and gravity turns off.
And like the physics are all wrong. Ketchup is balls.
Yeah, ketchup is balls. Mustard is balls. Water is balls. Everything is balls. And none of it really makes any sense. But like we're laughing about it, and so if you know someone who has one of these and put it together, burn 10 minutes at their house by messing with this thing. And that's probably about it. All right, Mark, let's close out of this discussion. But of course, we're not the only people in the universe that had an experience with this Nintendo Labo VR thing. Maybe you did too. If you did, please write into us. Let us know what your experiences were. Nintendo Cartridge Society
At gmail.com.
Because I would love to know if did you try to put this thing in front of a 12-year-old? Did they hate it? How cynical is this 12-year-old?
I feel so sorry that you're in such close contact with the 12-year-old.
Yeah, but maybe this was one way to get him off your back for like half a second. Anyway, that would all be great. If you like this episode, you can rate, review, subscribe on Apple Podcasts. That helps us out tremendously. You can also share it with someone you love or someone that you tolerate, or maybe that 12-year-old. That helps us out a bunch. You can follow us on Twitter. I'm at Patrick_Ellers. Mark is at MKE Mitchell, and the show is at Nin Cart Society. If you go to our Twitter page, you will see, even though we were just bragging about how bad we are at Twitter, there are some videos of us playing around with this thing and barely understanding what's happening. They're good. They're good videos. Check it out. And we're also on Facebook, and the page there is just Nintendo Cartridge Society. Olivia Duncan made our logo. Our theme music is provided by 8-Bit Betty. You can get more of his music by going to 8bitbetty.com or by listening right now. For my co-host, Mark Mitchell, this is Patrick Ellers apologizing to 12-year-olds. You're doing great. You're doing the best you can. It's a tough world out there. You're doing great. And thanks for listening.
Campfire.